Okay.
Tell us all about it.
Okay, good, thank you.
First of all, we certainly appreciate the invitation to come over here and be with y'all, and certainly I probably know every one of y'all in here, and it's been a good community for all of us to grow up in. I've been to a few places in this country and saw some pretty sights, but I wouldn't trade where I was brought up at and the country I was brought up in, or the place and the people I've been around for any other place I've ever been to. And it's all because of the friends and the neighbors that we all grew up around and in. Folks you can just count on. Now, folks, I've just come over here to try to help y'all. I'll try to answer any questions you might have. I'll try to give you a little bit of information. Certainly, if you have any questions that I can help you with, Randy's here. If I don't know it, he surely knows everything. So we've always got him here to back me up. But, of course, basically, in our age group, and I fit right in with y'all there, we have Medicare, and of course most of us has Medigap or Medicare supplement. Now there are other things out there. There's things called Medicare Advantage plans. That's kind of like a PPO type plan. Most of y'all got our newsletter. Did anybody in here not get our newsletter from Credille Insurance? Anybody here to get one? I've got some extras. Well, we kind of discussed that a little bit. The Medicare Advantage plan is kind of a PPO type plan. You're in a network. Certain doctors, certain hospitals got co-pays. Now, I can't elaborate on that very much because that's pretty regulated. You've got to get prior approval to discuss all that kind of stuff. Certainly, if any of you would be interested in that, I could discuss it with you in our office and give you more detail about it. But I think from what I know about most of you probably have a Medicare supplement. Of course, the one thing that I've run up on in the last year probably that we have a lot of discussion about is a lot of folks are going from a Plan F to a Plan G. Now, there are different plans you can get in a Medicare supplement. And a lot of folks are not aware of that. I guess most of y'all may be. I'm going to do this right here. I brought some copies of the different plans that's available. Don't you just take one of these and pass it out and around and look at this, because I want to discuss this with you so most of you can understand this, because this is one thing that I've run up on in the last 12 months especially. Not always you pass these out so we can talk about them here a little bit. And certainly if any of you got any questions, just speak up and we'll get you an answer now. I may not have gotten enough, though. I don't know how many we got printed out of that. May not have gotten enough. Now, all these plans that you see, you can get a Plan A all the way through a Plan N. Now, of course, those plans are set by Medicare. They set those plans, not insurance companies. They don't have a thing to do with that. Most of you are probably familiar with Plan F because that's what a lot of folks used to get all the time, Plan F. Plan F is the only plan that pretty well pays 100%. If Medicare pays, then it's not going to cost you anything, doctor or hospital. It's pretty well a walk-in and walk-out policy. The last, I'd say, 18 months, the Plan G has got a lot more competitive in this price, and we do write a lot of Plan Gs, and it is the best value. The only difference, if you look down there, the only difference between a Plan F and a Plan G, the Plan G does not pay your Part B deductible. And that can vary. That Part B deductible is set by Medicare. A few years ago, it was $147. It stayed that way for 3 or 4 years. They raised it to $161. It stayed that for 3 or 4 years. No, I'm telling y'all wrong. It was $161. They lowered it to $147. Then they raised it last year, I think it was to $166. This year it went to $183. It's going to stay at $183 in 2018. Generally, it stays that way for 3 or 4 or 5 years, but it can go up and down. You do have to pay that deductible if you get the Plan G. But that plan is, generally speaking, now I'm just going to give you some figures here. If you're about 65, it's probably about $230 cheaper for you. Well, you got to pay a $183 deductible, so you only save about $70. Most folks will still get the Plan F and just walk in and not pay anybody anything. But as you get older, that gap gets bigger. If you get around to 80, you're looking at probably $400 difference between the Plan F and the Plan G. So it boils down to you're paying the insurance company $400 and all they're paying for is a $183 deductible. So the Plan G is pretty attractive as you get older. And even and of course, men's rates are always higher, and a Plan G is always a better rate for a man than it is a woman, because a woman's rate's always cheaper. But now that is a plan that we have begun to write more and more of the Plan G, and some of y'all in here probably have changed to the Plan G. And it's always a better value if you don't mind paying that $183 deductible. And that $183 deductible applies totally to outside the hospital. That doesn't affect you if you go in the hospital. That's just like when you're going to the doctor. Now, it may take you a couple of trips to the doctor to meet that $183 deductible. Or you might have, January the 5th, you may have $10,000 worth of outpatient surgery. And you have to meet that $183 deductible all at one time. But I have saw it as high as $550 to $600 cheaper for folks to do the Plan G versus the Plan L. So in that case, certainly you'd want to do the Plan G. But again, when you get to the point where you're saving $300 in premium and you got to pay a $183 deductible, you wind up saving $117 a year. A lot of folks say, I'd rather just walk in and walk out and not worry with it. And that's okay. But I just want to kind of make you aware of that. There will be some changes. Now, Medicare made a lot of changes to these plans in 2010. There are going to be some more changes in 2020. I know some of you have probably heard that Plan F's going away, and that's true. In 2020, Medicare will not be offering Plan F. They will probably be coming out with some more plans, but Plan F will no longer be available. Now, if you have a Plan F, you can certainly keep it. But anybody coming on new to Medicare in 2020 will not get the opportunity to get a Plan F. So that is something that's coming down now. What plans they come out with in 2020, I don't know, but they probably will make more changes than just doing away with the Plan F. That's one of the things I wanted to discuss with you. On the prescription drug plans, let me say just a little bit about this. Does anybody have any questions about these plans here that we talked about? Now, I have got some clients that's got the Plan N. The Plan N is not a bad plan. The difference between a Plan N and a Plan F is you've got to pay the $183 deductible, plus you've got a $20 copay at the doctor's office maximum. Now, it may not be $20 every time. That's the most it should be. Plus, you've got a $50 copay if you go to the emergency room, which you don't have to pay if they put you in a hospital. So I have got clients that say, well, look, I don't ever go, and it is a cheaper premium than the Plan G. So I've got some clients that does have the Plan N. But of all the plans, probably the Plan G is the better value of any of them. Although Plan F is pretty nice, just walk in and give you a card and walk out and not pay anything off. That's pretty nice too. But Plan F, Plan G, and Plan N, that's about all we write. Now, and it's kind of strange when you get over in Alabama, you rarely run into a Plan F. Blue Cross sells over there what they call it a Blue Cross C+, which you would think it was a Plan C, but it's not. It's a Plan B, which if you look, you don't get much on the Plan B. One thing they don't get, if you look on that chart, there's a thing there that says skilled nursing coinsurance. They don't get that on a plan B over there. And I've had clients come from Alabama working. Now, what that is, if you were to be in a hospital, say with a stroke, an accident, knee replacement, anything that would move you out of the hospital into a nursing home for rehabilitation, Medicare will only pay for 20 days. On that 21st day, they'll start charging you $164 a day. This skilled nursing coinsurance that all y'all pretty have got on y'all's plan pays for an additional 80 days. So you've got 100 days, and that's a very important benefit. I've had folks from Alabama come over and say, look, my husband's in a nursing home, and we're having to pay $164 a day, and we got to have some insurance. Well, unfortunately, his health was so bad, I couldn't write him anything at that time. So I wouldn't buy a plan that didn't have that skilled nursing co-insurance on it. I don't imagine any of y'all do have that, but that's a good benefit that we see used quite a bit. Does anybody have any questions about the plans or anything? I just wanted to clarify that because we get asked about that a lot.
How do they collect that deductible? You said it's at the
Most
doctor,
of
and
the
all
time,
they want. Do
most of
they
the time, if
prorate
you
it?
go to the doctor,
They prorate it?
most times if you go to the doctor with a Plan G, let's say, they're going to file your claims to Medicare. Medicare is going to electronically file to your companies. Medicare will send you a letter saying you've not met your Part B deductible, and you'll get a bill from a doctor. You got to go pay that doctor fees. Now, some doctors may require that up front. Some of y'all may experience that. I don't know. I haven't never experienced
But
it.
when, after they file it, then you'll get a notice that they.
You'll get a notice from Medicare saying you've not met your Part B deductible. And then, of course, you'll get a bill from the doctor. Now, having said that, I said you'll get a bill from the doctor. Having said that, I've actually had some clients that had a Plan G that a doctor never did bill them for that $183. Now, whether he just eat that, I don't know. But they never did get a bill for
It
it.
has nothing to do with your drug claim.
No, totally separate. The only thing that comes with drug coverage is those advantage plans I was telling you about. And I know y'all seen Humana advertise that. Of course, we're licensed with Humana. We can write all that kind of stuff. But you just need to really learn about it. And like I say, I'd be glad to discuss it if anybody wants to discuss that topic. But no, a drug plan is totally separate. Any more questions about the plans or anything? One more thing I might say on that. Now, if I'm looking at a 65-year-old lady and you're looking at a Plan F and a Plan G, most of the time the Plan F's a better deal because she can't save but probably $200. Well, she's got to pay $183 deductible. She just well gets the Plan F, not worry about having to pay anything. But as you get older, and then that changes. So it's just something you want to watch as you get older. Check it, see what the G is, see what the F is, then you make that determination if you think it's saving you enough money to make the change. And we'll be glad to help you with any of that.
I understand if you've got a Plan F, you can keep it as long as you can pay it.
You can keep it as long as you want to.
What I understood you say.
You do not have to drop that in 2020. I mean, if you can keep it to, no, you don't have to drop that. And I've had clients call me afraid of that, but no, you don't have to do that. Anyone else? Any questions about the plan? I just wanted to talk a little about that because we get asked that a lot. Prescription drug plans. There seem to be some fairly good plans for 2018 out there. And let me tell you this, and for y'all that got our newsletter, we can't see what the new plans look like each year to the 1st of October. We try to scramble and try to look what some of the plans are going to look like to get this newsletter put together to get it out to our clients so y'all can get it. You don't need it in December, you know, so we try to get it out as quick as we can. Sometimes we miss putting a few things in there that we'd like to put. And like I say, the government won't let us put some things in there. We can't put in there, this is the best plan or this is a good plan. You can't say those kind of things. We try to put what we can in there. Some of y'all may have, and let me give you an example of when you get your drug plan information in each year, that company's supposed to mail you what changes are taking effect for the next year. Now, I've had clients call me and say they didn't know their premium was going up until after December the 7th. Well, you can't change after December 7th, and some companies have done that. Now, I don't know how they get by with it. I would certainly file a complaint with Medicare if a company did me that way. They should let you know in plenty of time what changes on your policy or your drug plan. drug plans are pretty drug specific. It depends on what you take, what drug plan is going to work for you. It seems to be that there's a pretty good array of plans out there for 2018. Now, there was a plan this year, and I'm just going to give an example. And I wish we'd have put this in our letter. If I'd have picked up on it a little quicker, we would have. WellCare Classic, which some of y'all may have that plan. It was a good plan for 2017. It's about $20, 20-something dollars. You remember what it was? $24. Had a deductible, but you did not have to meet that deductible if you was taking a tier 1 or tier 2 drug. 2018, you're going to have to meet that deductible, regardless of what drug it is. Now, there are going to be some folks miss that thing and think it's going to pay just like it has next year, it did this year. And they probably don't take but like $50 worth of drugs a month. By the time they meet a $400 deductible, the year's just about over with. So always read what you get from your drug company and compare it. It'll tell you in there what's changing if you'll follow through. And sometimes a drug company can call a drug a tier 1 this year. That same drug may be called a tier 3 next year, which makes the copay go up. Hard to pick up on those things. You just got to read that thing pretty close. Or if you'll holler at us, we'll put your drugs on the computer and look at Medicare's website, and we can tell you if that's going to work for you next year or not. But I have had a lot of times where, I'll give you this example. I had a client call me from Starkville last year on December the 7th, last day to sign up. She took a couple of pretty high dollar drugs, and the plan that came back for her had a deductible. He didn't take but about $40 worth of drugs a month. Well, he didn't need a plan with a deductible because he never going to reach it, but she wouldn't have anything but put them both on the same plan. And I told her, well, he's never going to reach his deductible. Well, that's okay, put us on the same plan. I enrolled them both that day, December the 7th, same plan. I stayed up there at 7 o'clock after the last day in case somebody called and needed to make any changes. When she called me about 8 o'clock the next morning and said, we want to stay where we were at. I said, ma'am, it's too late. You can call Medicare and plead your case, but they're not going to listen to you. You've got to stay what we enrolled you in yesterday for 12 months. So December the 7th, midnight comes, buddy, that's all cut off right there. You cannot change. Now, drug plan, you can change it 10 times from now to December the 7th. Whatever you sign up for last is going to stick. If you sign up for one today and you decide, hey, I don't like that, this one's better for me next week, you can sign up for another one. It'll kill that plan. Then the next week you can sign up for another, and he'll kill that plan. So you can change your mind during this annual election period from December the 7th till, October 15th to December 7th. That's the time you got to change that. And if you miss that deadline, you're just stuck with what you got. But now there's a plan out there this year is 1260. It's a pretty good plan. The things I don't like about the drug plan, folks, is a lot of them are tied to these chains. Like some of them are tied to Walmart, some are tied to CVS, some are tied to Kroger, some are tied to Walgreens. Well, we live in an area where they're not on every corner. And I wish the government would not let them do that, but they do it. And I love our local pharmacist. You know, my daughter knows a pharmacist at Fred's Red Bank. Sometimes I have to tell folks, they use Fred's Red Bank. And I said, well, that's not sure it works better for you, but you got to use a Walmart pharmacy, you know. Some folks, well, I don't want to use a Walmart pharmacy, and some folks will change. But some of them are tied to different pharmacies. And I always try to show folks the one that works best for them at the pharmacy they want to use. And if there's one just a lot cheaper, I'm going to tell them about it and then let them make their own decision. And I don't want the pharmacy to think, well, I want to keep a good relationship with all of them, with Gatlin's and Belmont and IUCA Discount, all of them, because they've all been helpful to us. And I'm sure they wouldn't run any business away from them folks. But if a person wants a pharmacy, we try to find the one that's the cheapest one for that pharmacy for them for the next 12 months. But we'll be glad to help you with drug plans. All the drug plans are a little bit aggravating. They're not if you don't have any problem, but if you have any problem, here's one thing. If you ever have a problem with a drug plan, now if you have a problem with a Medicare supplement, we can pretty well handle that from A to Z. Drug plans, they're highly regulated with the government. you can't even call for your wife, or the wife can't even call for the husband unless you give them permission. They will not talk to you. They certainly won't talk to us. If I enroll you in a drug plan, you've got a problem with it, I can't call them and get that fixed. They will not talk to me. Although I might be licensed with them, it doesn't matter. They'll only talk to the one that owns that drug plan. Now, if you're in the office, we can call them and talk to them. But I've had clients call me and say, I've got a problem with this, but I'd like to help you with it, but I can't. So they are a little bit aggravating to work with on drug plans. So anybody got it? Now, this year, the maximum, I believe, is $37.50 before you get in that donut hole. That goes up a little each year. It was $3,000, $3,200, I believe, this year maybe, something like that. But it's up a little. It's $37.50 before you get in the donut hole. And what gets you in what they call the donut hole or the gap, it's not what you're out of pocket or what you pay. It's the retail cost of the drugs. It's what they say your drugs cost you, retail price. When that hits $37.50, then you're going to go into that gap or the donut hole. And then when you get into that, you got to pay more for your drugs. I think you got to pay like a 47-cent copay if you get in the donut hole. They all have what they call catastrophic coverage. That is, if you happen to be out of pocket $5,000, that's the time you pay for your plan, drugs and all. If you're out of pocket that, you'll go into what they call catastrophic coverage, and then you don't have to pay but 5% for your drugs. And we do have some clients that, if you're taking $1,500 or $2,000 worth of drugs a month, you'll get in a donut hole pretty good, pretty quick, and you'll get in the catastrophic coverage pretty quick, which it's good that they have that. But I think the last statistics I saw, it was like maybe 10% of the population got in the gap or the donut hole. So most folks don't get in it, but now a lot of folks did. I actually got in that thing once. I made some changes to my medications to not do that again, and you can do that. That's anybody in questions on the
At one time, when it first started, the drug plan signs, a few years ago, one pharmacy couldn't charge more for one medicine than another one, but now that's not the case. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that on that.
I called on one and they said that's regulated by the government and we can't charge them.
I'm not sure.
Well, that's what a pharmacist told me,
He
maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
now sometimes your pharmacy can help with these drug plans. They're very knowledgeable too. Some will, some won't. They're like everybody else. They're swamped. Yes, sir.
On the drug plan, United Health got a lawsuit against them right now because of their drug plan. What a person had to pay with the plan was more than what they could back for without the plan.
I saw that happen, and that's not why it needs to be lawsuit. I saw that in other cases there. You're right.
I understand it. I'm going to keep United Health. I understand that we got hospitals that they haven't paid like they're supposed to. And personally, I've had a plan with them. It was canceled.
Well, most cases on that, like United Health or Blue Cross, they have a problem with Tupelo, and United Health have a problem with Tupelo. That has never affected supplements. That has always affected just regular health insurance, but not Medicare supplements. It never has. And I know Tupelo's been into it with both of them over the years, like 15 years, 2 or 3 times, but it never affected supplements. So we had clients call us, and it's got United Healthcare, and we write policies for United Healthcare. Does not affect Medicare supplements.
I got a personal problem with them, and I haven't been able to solve it. It's because I've got a third partial insurance that they claim causes part of my trouble.
Well, you'll be surprised at some of the problems folks can run into. I've got one client, and I'll just pass this on. And things like this can happen. Randy can attest this. We had a client over here in Tishomingo that a lady in Iowa had the same name, same birthday. And they got their drug plan crossed up. And man, that was a nightmare. You can't believe how hard it is to get something like that fixed and straightened out, especially with a drug company, whether it be United Healthcare, Humana, or any of them. If you have to get something like that straightened out with a drug company, supplements is pretty easy. We can deal with them pretty easy. A drug plan's tough. It's hard.
Might say on that, he was talking about the hospital, the reason you don't have a problem with your Medicare supplement is Medicare is your primary
Mm-hmm.
insurance. Supplement is your secondary. So as long as they take Medicare, you're okay in all 50 United States.
Unless you're still involved, Medicare's not your phone.
Well, it's for how many people,
Huh?
it's for how many people are employed, how many people.
Oh, how many people, yes, you work, okay.
The Envision RX plan is $12.60. It's been coming back for a lot of folks as a good plan. I'm just going to give you some that we've looked at in the last 2 days. We've looked at a bunch because we have a lot of folks in now. The Aetna plan has been coming back as a good plan for folks. And that doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. It's depending on what you take. Silver Script Choice sometimes works for folks. And Randy, you may know a couple more that's come back.
Well, the Humana Walmart, if they.
Yeah, Humana Walmart, if you use a Walmart pharmacy, or if you do mail order, it's a pretty good plan.
Mail order is wonderful with Humana.
Do what for?
No problem. Mail order is wonderful with Humana.
You do mail order with them?
I finally decided.
Well, you know, I know Dawn Deaton at Florence has got them, and she said they just work great for her as far as mail order drugs. And she loves that part of it. But I have other clients that said mail order just doesn't work for them. Some clients won't buy a plan unless they've got mail order. And then some folks just don't like it at all. Some thinks it's different drugs. Now, I don't know if that's the case or not. If you do mail order, you get the same drug.
But I talked to several people that loved it, and I was sort of leery, but it's cheaper than buying them at Walmart.
Yeah. Well, I tried it on one plan I had just to see how it worked. I ordered mine for about 3 to 6 months, and I didn't have any problem at all. Mine came on time. I had no problem. Now, I don't do that anymore, but I just did it I was going to try to see how it worked so I could tell folks if it worked good or not.
That person had an email where it told her, you know, the person that was having a problem was, you know,
I'm not sure. I don't know. Some folks has bad experiences with that, and some folks just don't do. Well, in fairness to our local pharmacists, and this is what I don't like about these drug companies, and I wish the government wouldn't let them do that. They'll go negotiate with these chains, like Walmart and Walgreens. Well, that leaves our local pharmacies, they kind of leave them out of the loop, you might say. And that's not really right. It's not their fault that these big companies will cut deals with these chains, but they do it. And that's not really right. And I don't like that. That's the one thing I do not like about the drug plans. It ought to be the same, whatever pharmacy you went to. Now, if you lived in South Haven, where there's a pharmacy on every corner, it might not matter. But where you live rural like we are, it makes a big difference to drive 25 miles one way to get your medication. And then you just only got, you have to drive 40 miles to see some of these pharmacies. So, but they do it. And it's not a slap to our pharmacists, our local pharmacists. They have to do what they have to do, and they don't get the breaks that some of these larger companies get. And that's just the way it is. You probably haven't saved a lot. Again, those drug plans are very drug specific. You can take one drug off, and it may put you from a $50 plan to a $20 plan for just one medication. You might could get that medication changed. Now, if something's working good for you, you may not want to change it. But I have in mind, I've made some changes to my drugs. It didn't affect me at all. It made me quit getting in that donut hole or the gout. So you can't, that's basically on your options. You just got to make some changes to your medications. Now, I'll pass this on to y'all, and I've told it to my clients that come in there. Over here at Tishomingo, this new clinic they got over there. You can get some drugs there, very inexpensive if you're taking a high dollar drug. Now, I've got a list of the drugs that they can give you breaks on, especially if you're diabetic. The girl working in the office, his father-in-law's drugs was like, what, $2,000, Randy? It's real high. You know, Tishomingo got it for $10. So now there are some options. Had one of the nurses stop and talk to me about it. And I said, man, yeah, I want to help anybody I can help with drugs. I'll do it. So if I got a client that's taking something that's real high, I looked at that list, it's on that list, I said, look, you go here at Tishomingo, get you an appointment to see Jennifer, and I'm not sure one of the others. I don't have any nurse practitioners works over there. But go and get you an appointment to see them, let them do a physical on you, tell them you need help with this drug, they can write you a prescription. You got to go to Gatlin's to get it filled. But you can save some money if you're taking a high dollar drug, and it's on that list.
That's where I have to go get my Credille.
You get that?
It was $300 something, I got it for $9.
That's right. Well, I was taking Benacor, and I was helping a guy with a Benacor is about a $150 drug. I was helping a guy with a drug plan. I said, oh, it's Benacor. He said, I don't worry about that. I get that for $9. Well, I called Stacy. I said, how much is that Benacor? She said, it's high, you know. I said, you can't get that for $9. Well, he was. He was getting over at Tishomingo, which I didn't know. And I kept getting bits and pieces of that. And then I got to digging on it, and this lady finally stopped in and sat down and talked with me about it. And so you can do that. Just depending on what. Now, some drugs are not on there.
I think it's come down some, but it's still high.
Yeah. Don't pay a big sum for your drug. Your call us. We'll tell you if they can help you with that.
Sometimes you can claim to cut the price to the pharmacy itself. They got some kind of cards or some medicine, and they can use that card and get you a big discount on it.
Yeah, sometimes. And actually, you can go on the internet sometime, type on a name of a drug, and get 75% off. A discount card, just print it right off. I have done that for clients and just mailed it to them. But if you got a computer, just type the name of your drug you're taking. Most of them all got big discounts on them. But I wouldn't pay a lot for a drug. Check out all your options. Now, some of those medications, especially diabetic medication, has really gotten high. I read an article where some of them went up like 300% on diabetic medicine, which is a ripoff, but there's nothing you can do about it. You got to have it if you're diabetic. But before you pay all that for it, like Livamir and all them drugs that's real high, you can get it over at Tishomingo, very inexpensive. Anybody got any question on the drug plan or anything?
Once you pick a drug plan, can the drug company during that year's time decide they don't want to pay for certain drugs anymore?
I don't think we've had that happen. Do you, Randy?
The only way they can is if a drug is taken off the market or a brand name medication, a generic comes out, it's the same thing. That's the only way they can make a change. If a generic comes out for a brand name or that drug is taken off the market.
And we get asked a lot about the formulary of a drug company. You know, well, what if I get on this? Or what about if I get on that? Is it going to pay for that? That's hard to answer. You don't know unless you put it on there and see. All of them generally has a decent formulary. Now, I'm sure there's some that's got better formularies than other companies, but that's hard to decipher that out. But you can, we can take and put a drug on there and pretty well tell you, but just as far as checking which one's got the best formulary. Now, I believe it's by law, they got to have a drug for every situation. Now, they may not cover every drug, but they got to have a drug for that situation according to the law. Now, you know, I don't know how many blood pressure pills there are. They may be 20 blood pressure pills, or probably even more. They may cover 10 and not cover these 10, you know. And the same way with just about every drug. But they have to have a drug to cover. I mean, if you get put on a drug that your drug plan doesn't cover, I've had clients do this, and I always recommend it. You'll get a formulary from the company that you have from your drug plan. Take that to your doctor and say, look, they won't cover what you put me on. What in this book will do the same thing that my drug plan will cover. And a lot of times you'll thumb through it, this will do the same thing right here. And just write your prescription for that, and they'll cover that. So you run into that. I have run into that where clients will just take it. I said, look, just take it to the doctor and ask them what in there will do the same thing. And a lot of doctors will do that for you. They'll just switch you that.
And you also can file an appeal to them to make sure to see if they will cover a certain drug.
Yeah, if you've tried other drugs and they didn't work for you, you can file an appeal, and most of them will pick up and start covering that drug. I've had that happen too. If you've tried other drugs and they've recommended you trying it, doctor said that don't work, then you can get it paid for. We've had that happen before. But
These supplementary plan G, are the premiums, do they vary from person to person, or is it just blanket across?
no, they're the same. It's according to age. Of course, ladies are always less expensive. But a 67-year-old lady is going to get the same rate. Now, it varies with companies, you know. Medicare supplements, and y'all have all experienced this, they never go down. They're always going to go up, always going to go up. Generally, you can ride a company for 3 or 4 years, 5 maybe, and then you just got to change if your health permits it. Now, there are questions that you have to answer, but they're fairly liberal. Now, there are some situations which are hard to change clients. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I'm an agent, don't matter, I still got to go through underwriting. Very few companies will take me because I take methotrexate and some drugs for rheumatoid arthritis. Shirley's probably experienced that, but I can't change my supplement with just anybody. Along will come a company every once in a while I might can change to. So there are some things that, but I'm going to say probably 85 to 90% of our clients, we can pretty well move. There's always companies coming into the state. Its underwriting's a little bit different, and there are always new companies coming in. And here's what supplements do, folks, and y'all may know this. I could use any of them because they all do it. We'll say Mutual of Omaha. Okay, you got a Mutual of Omaha policy. We write for Mutual of Omaha. I've written a lot of Mutual of Omaha policy. All right, Mutual of Omaha starts getting high, and everybody starts going other directions with it. Get another company. First rate increase, most folks will stay. Second rate increase, still most folks will stay because most times it ain't that bad. Now I've had companies go up as much as $45 at one pop. Now most folks ain't going to stay with that, but most folks will stay even after the second rate increase. About the third rate increase, folks will start leaving the company, and then about the fourth rate increase, more folks will start leaving the company. Well, we're not writing any new business for them because their rates have gotten too high. We're writing for another company over here now. Mutual of Omaha is sitting here with this block of business, and everybody's leaving it, except the folks that can't leave it. Then they're stuck here with this group of folks that's sick and can't get another policy, and the rates keep going up. They, by law, they've got to have X amount of dollars over here to cover these claims. That's a law. Got a formula they go by. They're not getting new business in that right there. The only thing they can do is raise their rates to meet the law that they've got to have that money in there. Well, Mutual of Omaha is not writing any more business, but their rates got too high. They'll come out with another company. They'll call it United of Omaha. Well, it's a new company. They ain't got to pay claims, so they can give you good rates. After a year, 2 years, the claims go to party, and it's just a cycle. And then that company gets too high. United of Omaha gets too high. Then they'll come out with another company. They'll call it Company X or who knows what. I mean, Mutual of Omaha has done that 3 or 4 or 5 times since the last 15 years they've changed. And that's just the way all companies do. I mean, you may be getting I've actually moved folks from Mutual of Omaha, and 7 years later, go back to another Mutual of Omaha company, you know. So it's a cycle. You just got to, certainly if we've got you insured, call us. We want you to call us if your rate starts getting too high, and we'll try our best to get you a better rate. And whoever your agent is, call them. Tell them, look, my rate's high, what's out there? We can tell you what's in the state. Now, we're not ever going to write you a company that's not a good company. And I know folks say, well, I never heard of that company. They're a good company. Don't worry about that. We're not going to write you anybody that's not a good company. We've had some companies come in the state of Mississippi that we were not licensed with because financially they were not secure. They wasn't a stable company. There's one came in here a few years ago. We mailed all of our clients a newsletter and said, do not get involved with this company. And every agent in the state was running ads in the papers. I mean, every little paper, boy, good rates. They would take you. I mean, if you was on your deathbed, they just about still take you. Well, a company that does that, folks, you can get ready for some high rates. They do underwriting to try to keep rates down. So their underwriting was very lax. Financially, you could go on the internet and look, they wasn't stable. We never even got licensed with them. They lasted about 6 months to a year, finally went out of business. But we didn't lose any of our clients to them. But there's a lot of, I went and changed a bunch of folks that had it, which was good for us. But don't worry about anybody. We won't write a company that's not good and solid financially and a good company. Right now, we've probably got folks insured with 30 or 40 different companies. They all pay good. The problem is the rates going up and trying to keep folks on good rates. That's the battle you have with Medicare supplements. And the only other advice I could give to y'all, check your drug plan every year. And a lot of folks will get it in their mind that you got to change the supplement at that time. You can change that Medicare supplement anytime you want to. It's not tied to the drug plan. The only thing you've got to change on the time frame is your drug plan. October 15th to December 7th. Otherwise, you can change the Medicare supplement any time of the year. Certainly, if you rate starts getting high, you call us. And I would, if I were y'all, I'd check my drug plan every year, make sure it's going to be good for the next year. And the safest way to do it is to put them on a computer, Medicare.gov, and see if that's going to work out for you next year. Of course, you can look in your book if they mail you. If you'll follow it along, make sure it doesn't change. If it's worked good for you, and then you don't have to make a change. But that's the best advice I could give y'all. And anybody got any questions on what I've talked about here? I tried to share some of the things that I know is most important. That's Medicare supplements and drug plans. That's pretty well where we're at on that right there. And talking about drug plans, or talking about supplements, and are the rates the same? I mean, you can have a Plan F paying $110, or you can have a Plan F paying $410. You know, you still got the same benefits. But I've been in folks' home that paid as much, their Plan F was $400. You know, I rewrite them for maybe $175. You know, so I mean, they paid that much more money for the Plan F. And I saw folks that thought because they paid more money, they had something different, you know. But now, folks, a Plan F's a Plan F, a Plan G's a Plan G, a Plan N's a Plan N. There's no difference in them. Now, you can call and let me say this right here. All agents get the same rates. I really appreciate all y'all's businesses done business with us. We really appreciate it. More than you'll ever know. But I know folks think, well, can I go down yonder and get it cheaper? Or can I go? Every agent gets the same rates. It's no difference. I can't sell you a policy. If we write 1,000 and another agent writes 1, they get the same rates. You can call the company. It's the same rate. You don't get a break. So there's no, it basically boils down to who you trust with your business to take care of you if you got a problem. Now, I went to folks' home and written them a supplement that told me, we bought, I've done it more than once, we bought this straight from the company. But if we got a problem, we can't get a hold of nobody. It's always punch this button, punch that. We got to have an agent that can handle our problem. That's the key to a Medicare supplement. Get you somebody that you trust, you feel comfortable with, and just hang your hat there. They're taking care of your business. You can't get a better rate nowhere else. You can right there. Now, what happens, and I'm just sharing what happens in our business, okay? We write you a supplement. It gets a couple of rate increases. Then you get a letter from John Doe down in Niceville, or from Niceville, or from Arkansas, or Jackson. Said, oh, I've got some better rates. Well, we got you some better rates too. All you got to do is call us. But he sends a cat to a newsletter. Oh, hey, mine's 150, and I can get this one here for 128. And then you call him and get signed up. I mean, they do that, and we do it too. That's just part of the business, I guess. But another agent doesn't have any better rate than we have, and we don't have any better rate than another agent does. We just try to keep good companies, good rates, and try to keep our clients on a good rate. And certainly, if you're having a problem, we do our best to try to get it solved for you. I know that's a big thing. And I know, especially widow women and in couples, y'all, most are on a fixed income, and $20 here and $20 more there and $20 here. All of a sudden, that goes mounting up. And it's different when you're on a fixed income than when you're working. I know that. I've got some widow women. I don't see how they make it. They're a better manager than I am, but they trust us, and we try to keep them on a good rate best we can. And I guess my biggest disappointment in this business is when I got somebody that I can't change. I can't stand that. I dig and I pry and I call company and I say, well, look, it don't matter if they got this, they ain't going to take them, you know. But sometimes that happens, and you just cannot change them. And that's kind of a disappointment if you're really trying to help folks. Anybody got anything? I've talked too much, probably. I should have asked more questions, sir. Any questions? If I can't answer them, now Randy can. I'm not sure what time it is.
It's 15 till 7.
Is it?
Medicare's your primary, and then these other Plan F, Plan.
Secondary insurance.
Supplement secondary. So open enrollment is only.
Drug
concerned
plan.
about these supplement drugs.
When I open enrollment, a person comes in open enrollment when they first get their Medicare. That's open enrollment. They got 6 months to get whatever they want, no questions asked. Now, when that 6 months expires, they got to answer health questions like that. I went over here and wrote a guy the other day. I'm trying to write him. He turned 65 in February. Well, his 6 months is out. You know, February, March. Boy, if he'd have called me 2 or 3 months ago, I wouldn't even have to ask him no questions. And he's a diabetic, and he's got this, and he's got that, and I'm just digging to try to find him something. But I wouldn't have to ask him nothing if he'd just called me a couple of months earlier. But he just, just didn't think. But when you first get your Medicare, you've got 6 months to get a supplement. No questions asked.
I've got about 6 months.
No, his hair not hardly the right color there.
Go ahead.
Don't they penalize you too if you don't sign up when you're, when you get to a certain age, if you don't sign up and then you later you do sign up?
That's on your prescription drug plan.
I'm not-
They will penalize you 1% a month when you turn 65 or when you become eligible for Medicare. Some folks get it on no disability.
That's the same way on Part B too, if you don't
I
sign
think
up
it's
Part B, unless you're working.
Yeah.
unless you're.
But that drug plan starts when you get that Part A. You've got 3 months. Like if your birth month's in July, you've got August, September, and October. If you don't get a drug plan within that time frame, you get a 1% penalty every month thereafter. Now, folks that works past 65 and they just get Part A, they don't need to get Part B if they keep their group insurance. Don't get Part B. Just stay with your group insurance. Then when you get ready for in your employment, you call Medicare and say, I'm ready for my Part B. And there's your open enrollment. I see a lot of folks will take that Part B while they're still working with group insurance, and that Part B costs you $134 a month, and it's not helping them one bit. So they're paying $134 a month needlessly. And I saw that happen many, many times. So when they've been paying that for 5 years.
Part A does not cost.
No, Part A is free.
Sign up for.
Part B costs $134.
What if someone's covered with their spouse's insurance? Do they need the Part B?
Not if they're on group insurance. As long as they're on group insurance, they don't have to get that Part B till they decide they want to drop that group insurance.
You sure?
But if they're covered with their spouse, they don't have to be working with their spouse.
As long as their spouse got them covered with that, they're good. But an individual policy won't work on that now. They'll penalize you if you don't get that Part B, a big penalty. You can't have individual coverage. It's got to be group insurance, not individual.
Don't let any lapse in between if you come off of a group.
Do what?
Don't let it lapse, have a lapse in between if you come off of a group and come to your individual.
Yeah, no, you need to get that when your group insurance in. And Medicare will do that for you. I've got a client right now I talked to today who's doing that right now. They can retire the 1st of January. I told them, call them, tell Medicare you need your Part B to start January 1. And they'll fix you up on that.
Part A covers most of your health problems.
Part A covers you in the hospital, hospice, and another thing or two there. Part B covers you outside the hospital, like going to the doctor, outpatient surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. All that comes under your Part B. Part B you've got to have. It's just important. Like if you go in a hospital, there's a $1,316 deductible Medicare won't pay. And that's a 60-day pay period. Like if you went in a hospital, you got to pay $1,316, or your supplement will pay it for you if you got a supplement. Now that's a 60-day period. If you come home and go back in the hospital within 60 days, you ain't got to pay that $1,360. But if you go back in the hospital 62 or 61 days, that $1,316 got to be met again. Every 60 days, that $1,316 comes into play. But a Medicare supplement's going to pay that for you every time. And then on your Part B, there's a $183 deductible Medicare won't pay. That's a one-time-a-year deductible. Plan F will pay that, Plan G won't pay that. Then there's 20% charge that Medicare don't pay. Of course, Plan F, Plan G both pays that. Plus you get the skilled nursing facility.
Medicare is really not gonna help you much without Part B.
No, you got to have Part B.
You gotta
No.
have Part B.
You got to have that.
Unless you still working that route.
And you just have Part A.
I've only saw one guy that didn't have Part B. He had to go to the pen for something and lost it somewhere in the penitentiary. And I told him, you're gonna get that Part B back. And I don't ever got it. I don't know how he lost it in the penitentiary. I don't know if they take it away from him. I don't know. I went there right myself and he just had Part A. I said, you gotta have Part B, so I lost that out in the penitentiary. So I can't write you something like that.
Their explanation of benefits, what the hospital charges Medicare doesn't approve, or a doctor near all of that.
Yeah,
And then what they approve is what your Part B picks up. and
Right.
pays. And you do not owe, they'll say on it, you do not owe whatever, you know.
but I've only written,
Some of that's a state,
I had a client down in Houston. On his Medicare card, he had female. I said, Mr. Griffin, you know they got you as a female? His name was David Troy Griffin. It wasn't like he was a man name you can miss. He said, yeah, I saw that. Didn't like him bother me. I said, well, I might write you a better rate. He said, well, they pay for them sex change operations. I said, well, I don't know about that. But he's the only one I've ever saw that's really fouled up. And he was and I actually called Social Security, and of course they wouldn't change it for me. And they actually had his effective dates all wrong. And he was in the hospital, and I talked to his daughter, and I told her, I said, you need to get that fixed for him, because that's going to create him some problems. I don't know if she ever did or not. He wound up passed away after that, a few years after that. But you don't run into that often, but I have saw about everything.
When somebody's approaching Medicare eligibility, when do you think that person needs to start thinking?
Well, what's going to happen 6 months before you get that, you're going to get calls from everybody. They're going to wear you out. You're going to get more mail than you put in the garbage can, because everybody gets a list turning 65, and they're just going to load you up with stuff so much you don't want to not even fool with it. But you need to just holler a couple of 3 months ahead of time. That way you get everything in, be ready to go. I mean, you don't have to do it that far ahead, but I probably would. I'd do it at least 2 months. But you'll get harassed to death by everybody and their brother on that. Some of these folks can attest, I'm sure, to that. I mean, we do mailers too, but everybody does. Anything else would anybody have? And I hope I hadn't brought you out here, and I really appreciate y'all inviting us to come out here. I feel like I'm just around a bunch of friends and folks, and if anything we can ever help you with, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come speak before you, we'll be glad to do it. And I asked Bobby, but he do a much better job, can tell you a lot more than I can. But
I live in Alabama. I've never asked this question. Can y'all cross state lines or?
oh yeah, I got a lot of clients in Alabama, Tennessee. I've got some clients in Texas and West Virginia and all over. I've got clients that moved off and would call me and say, look, won't you be my agent? And I said, all right. And I get licensed in them states. I get licensed in Texas. Probably cost me more money to get licensed than I made off writing my supplement, you know. But that's okay. We've got Texas, a lot in the Carolinas, and a lot in Tennessee. I've got clients I've never met, just real good people, and they trust me with everything. They just like me. I reckon some people, I try to help them every way I can.
somebody may have recommended you.
Well, I do. I have a lot of clients in Tennessee I've never got to meet, and they're real nice people. But I've had them insured for 10 years, I guess, or longer. Do I? I don't think I can. But, yeah, we do a lot in Alabama. Alabama don't hardly have as good rates in Mississippi, and Tennessee doesn't have hardly as good rates, but they got better rates than Alabama. Alabama's probably the hardest state. You know, I was in a meeting one time when a company was offering a new product in the whole Southeast, except Alabama. And I asked him, I said, why you not like, because I needed it for Alabama, got a lot, why you not offering Alabama? And he said, because the trial lawyers and Blue Cross Blue Shield was so powerful over there. They had a manipulation kind of on the business what it is. And y'all have got a little problem there with the insurance commissioner. He's more favorable to the trial lawyers evidently than insurance companies. I don't know. But in Mississippi, we're out of policy. A lot of them will charge a $6 policy fee. Alabama's $25 policy fee. They won't let, Mississippi won't let them charge more than $6. But Alabama's $25 policy fee. Just little things like that. And the rate's about, I'm gonna say $10 to $15 higher in Alabama than you. About that, for a person. I've got some folks that live in Alabama that's got Mississippi address too, so I've written some Mississippi address. But they live in Alabama, but they got a Mississippi address too, so I guess they live in both places. As I said you did.
Talk about drugs not being compared, the drugstore, county pharmacies.
Yeah.
Will say, when I turned 65, and I still don't take one prescription drug, I wasn't on any medicine, so I didn't sign up. Of course, I'm getting penalized, like $3 more.
Hmm.
Hey, if you're not on any medicine, you know.
That's aggravating. I've got about 50% of clients will take a drug plan, 50% won't. But this $12.60 plan, everybody ought to just go ahead and take one now to save that penalty. But, you know, I went out to the Golden out there to the nursing facility, and I'll help folks that get a drug plan that didn't know to get a drug plan. Now, that money goes to the federal government, that penalty. And I've seen them elderly people have to pay $20 and $25 penalty because they didn't sign up on a drug plan. And that aggravates me.
You know, there's more people like that than you think.
They are, Coach, and
Their elders just don't know that they need, that they can get.
he didn't have a clue.
They paying a copay every time they look at the doctor.
They called me from the drugstore and said, you go out there, and if I told you his name, y'all don't know him, he's since passed away. So you go up there and help him with a drug plan. I said, be glad to go out there and help him with a drug plan. I went out there and he just didn't know to get one, and he needed one at the time, and I told him, you're going to get a penalty on this thing. And of course, it still saved him some money, but I hate to send that guy, see him sending them $25 every month to the federal government. He needed it worse than they did. But anyway, that happens. Don't yeah. But anyway,
Coming tonight, sure they.
well, I really appreciate it.